guilt has moved into your third chakra, which is your solar plexus chakra, which is basically governing your self-worth, then what happens is that you start to say that, why am I existing? What if I told you that the guilt which you have been carrying in yourself quietly is not just an emotion? What if it is a frequency? A frequency, a breathing energy which is there in your body, which is there in your cells, your organs, your nervous system, which is attracting the same kind of patterns, the same kind of pain, the same kind of circumstances in your life, and which is actually confirming your belief that I don't deserve good things. And for thousands of years, every scripture, every Western philosophy, every Western philosophers, everyone says the same, that if guilt left unresolved, then it becomes your identity. Now let's start with what guilt actually is, because most of us confuse it with something very useful. So guilt is a belief that you caused harm to the other person, to yourself, or to life itself, and for that you must be punished for it. Now modern psychology calls it a self-conscious emotion, and what is fascinating here is that guilt is not same as remorse. Remorse will say that, I did a mistake and I will do better next time. But guilt will say that I am wrong and I am the mistake. So this distinction between remorse and guilt is everything. Now David Hawkins, in his scale of consciousness, he actually measured some frequencies on which we vibrate. So in this scale of consciousness, there are different vibrational frequencies, okay? And every vibrational frequency have different ranks. For example, if we take love, then love sits at 500. But what is the lowest frequency on which people can vibrate, which is just above 0? It is shame. And above that, on 30, comes guilt. Now people vibrating at these frequencies sees life as punishment. Their stress hormones peak, their immune systems are weakened, and they are actually clouded. There is a lot of brain fog, and most dangerous thing is that they actually create an energetic field around them, which will actually attract the same type of frequencies in which you are in, because like attracts like. If you are in the frequency of guilt, then you will attract the same type of people who will actually make you feel guilty about yourself. But how and why does guilt actually sits in our body? Now for this you have to understand the chakra system. So chakra system is basically a map of how energy moves into your body. So there are basically 7 energy centers of different electromagnetic forces. And each energy center is governing something physical, emotional and spiritual. Now the second chakra, which is called the Swadhisthana in Sanskrit, it is located just below your navel. It is also called the Sacral Chakra. Now this is the energetic center of guilt. Now this chakra basically governs your sexuality, your creativity and your ability to receive in life. Now when guilt is lost here, then what happens is that your life begins to shut down, because when there will be a lot of emotional wounds, your prana or your life energy won't be able to flow. So everything will feel stagnant, everything will feel like there is no movement and life is not running. And everything will feel stagnant. You will have a disconnection with yourself, and you will feel that your life is actually a punishment now. And it doesn't stop here. If guilt has moved into your third chakra, which is your solar plexus chakra, which is basically governing your self-worth, then what happens is that you start to say that, why am I existing? You start to question your worth. You start to apologize for even existing. That is why we say that people who have a lot of guilt inside, they question themselves. They start to analyze everything about them. They start believing that actually they deserve that punishment. And you even let people cross your boundaries because somewhere inside you believe that you deserve that punishment. And people with these kind of things actually suffer from lower back pain. They suffer from digestive issues. They have bad immunity. They have chronic muscle tensions. So everything is actually connected with our body. The emotions which we actually do not process are actually harming our organs, are actually harming our body. Now Carl Jung called it the shadow, the dark side of our psyche. And it actually stores the thing which we have not processed, which are your fears, your failures, or your unresolved guilt. Now he says that if you are conscious of your guilt, or you are actually aware that you have done something more, then you are in a favorable position. Because most of us, what we do is that we bury that guilt so deep that even if it comes, we just try to distract ourselves because we don't have that courage to accept that guilt. You have to be real and authentic with yourself. because unless you accept things, you can actually not move forward. And authenticity, gratitude, peace, joy, and love, these are all beautiful frequencies you can live in. And there is a very harsh truth you will hear today. The Stoics said that sometimes you cling to guilt. It actually becomes your identity, your excuse, and your way of staying small. The solution is very simple. The first thing is, ask yourself, was my intention good? If yes, then you have nothing to feel guilty about, because results are not in your control, only your intentions are. The second thing, if you genuinely wronged someone, then repair it, take an action, and do whatever you can about it. And the third step is that just release it completely, because guilt, which actually you cannot change, is just a rejection of reality. It is a rejection of the present moment. If you can't control something, then just leave it. And Bhagavad Gita always says that guilt is just a story of your mind. It is not a fact of your soul.